A tiny ball of fluff, no bigger than my two cupped hands, trembled beneath a scraggly bush. It was a kitten, and it was in bad shape. A few days ago, I'd been walking home from work, the usual route, when a faint, desperate mewling had caught my ear. It was coming from the overgrown patch of weeds at the edge of the park. Now, staring down at the shivering creature, I knew I couldn't leave it. He was so small, his bones felt fragile beneath his thin fur. His nose was scraped raw, and one paw was puffed up, probably from an injury. He stood stiff as a board, all terrified, green eyes wide and pleading. I looked around, scanning the undergrowth for a mother cat, but there was nothing. No sign of her, no other kittens. He was completely alone. This wasn't a friendly stray, content to rub against legs. This was pure, unadulterated fear, masked by a pathetic attempt at aggression, a tiny hiss that barely broke the silence. His eyes, though, held a flicker of something else, a silent plea that cut straight to my heart. I knew that if I left him there, exposed to the elements, he wouldn't last the night. I scooped him up, his small body trembling in my palm. He didn't bite, didn't scratch, just huddled, accepting his fate. The pet store was my first stop. I bought a tiny bag of kitten food, a shallow dish, a small litter tray, and a soft, plush blanket. He was probably a feral, I thought, maybe never even touched a human. Back home, I filled the sink with warm water, hesitant. He was still rigid, eyes glued to mine, but there was a lessening of tension. Gently, I lowered him into the water. He didn't fight, didn't struggle, just allowed the water to soothe him, his little body relaxing as the warmth enveloped him. To my surprise, he actually leaned into my hands, the fight seemingly washed away. He was so exhausted, so vulnerable. By the time I was drying him with a soft towel, he was fast asleep, a tiny, rumbling purr vibrating in his chest. I mixed some warm milk with a bit of the soft food, placed it before him, and held my breath. He ate ravenously, his tiny head bobbing as he lapped up every last drop. The next day, a transformation took place. He was still cautious, but the fear had receded, replaced by a playful curiosity. He chased a crumpled piece of paper across the living room, batting it with his paws, his small body finally animated. He even tentatively rubbed against my leg, a tiny purr rumbling through him. He quickly adapted to the house, exploring every nook and cranny. He followed me everywhere, his little paws padding silently behind me. He would chase my feet as I walked, pouncing on my shoelaces with adorable abandon. He'd even begun sleeping curled up on my chest each night. He wasn't a feral kitten anymore. He was ours. Weeks turned into months. The kitten, whom I'd named Patches for the black markings on his white fur, grew into a boisterous, playful cat, always eager for a cuddle or a game. The limp in his injured paw had healed, his fur had grown thick and glossy, and his eyes, once wide with terror, now sparkled with mischief and love. We had become inseparable. He would often sit at the window, watching the world outside, and a pang of worry would hit me. What if his family was out there? What if he remembered a home he no longer had? One sunny afternoon, as I was working in the garden, I saw him at the window, staring intently at something. I followed his gaze and my heart stopped. Just outside our fence, a black cat, a female, was pacing back and forth, her ears flattened, her eyes wide and frantic. She was calling, a low, mournful meow that was unmistakable. I could see the resemblance to Patches, the same black markings, the same bright green eyes, just a little more tired and worn. For a moment, I didn't know what to do. Had I taken him from her? Was she out there, searching all this time? Would he be happier with her? The fear of losing him, of giving him back, was palpable. I watched Patches, his whole body tense, his tail twitching, as he looked from me to the mother cat, back to me, and then to her again. Then, Patches did something that broke my heart and warmed it in the same instant. He turned from the window, looked at me, and nudged my hand with his head, purring louder than I had ever heard. He turned and looked back at the window, at the mother cat, and then he rubbed against my leg once more. I looked at him, my eyes brimming with tears. He was home. He chose us.